Welcome back to INF People. Today I'm going to start my INFProfiles series. I think I might do this as maybe one of the main things that my channel is about. Since it's called INF People, I should talk about people who are INFPs. I'll still have other things and other MBTI related videos, but I think that this will be the main thing that I will focus on this channel. So our first INF profile will be one of my all-time favorite characters, Luna Lovegood from the Harry Potter series. I love Luna Lovegood. I love the Harry Potter series before I read the fifth book or watched the fifth movie. But once Luna Lovegood was introduced, Harry Potter became just one of my favorite all-time things in anything. One of my favorite movies, book series, whatever. I love Harry Potter, and it has a lot to do with my love for Luna Lovegood. As you can see, my INF people little logo has Luna Lovegood featured as one of the prominent INFP characters. And so today we will talk about why Luna Lovegood is an INFP. I usually see her typed as INFP, but I also hear people typing her as an INTP. And today we will talk about why she is an INFP and not an INTP, and just why she's an INFP. So I think that those two personality types are pretty much the only ones that Luna could really be. Um, she's too dreamy and too like caught up in her own world to be a sensing type or an extrovert of any kind. So I think it's very clear that she's an IN. And then also, I think it's clear that she doesn't use an extroverted judging function. She's not proactive enough to, and she's not, and uh, she doesn't make external judgments almost ever in the series. Or now that I think about it, I can't think of a single time that she's made like a sort of external judgment on the or judgment on the world outside really. So I think she's clearly also a perceiving type. So the only thing that there might be some debate about is whether she is a feeling type or a thinking type, and more specifically, whether she is an introverted feeler or an introverted thinker, because she's clearly not an extroverted feeler. She's too socially awkward to be an extroverted feeler, and she just is not proactive enough to be an extroverted thinker. So I think it's clear that she's also a perceiving type. Uh, so, so one of the reasons that I think that Luna Lovegood is an introverted feeler and not an introverted thinker, is because so her character basically is meant like the purpose of her character is that she's meant to be a foil for the character of Hermione Granger. So what that is, if you don't know, is that is when you're writing and you have a character who you make to be a contrast to one of your main characters, so that you can bring out the main characters, so you can highlight the main character's character flaws. So Hermione is the main female character in the Harry Potter series, and she is almost the complete opposite of what Luna Lovegood is. So Hermione is a skeptic. Like even though she's in this wizarding world with all kinds of fantastical creatures and magic and all kinds of stuff, she's still skeptical about things. Like she doesn't believe in anything that she can't see or perceive somehow. Like the way she dismisses the divination class, uh, the way she and just like little subtle stuff with her. Like she has to have some kind of justification for her beliefs, and that's all the time. Like even little subtle things, like when they first met the Dementors in the third movie and third book, and Harry passes out, and when he comes back, Or when he wakes back up, he says like, did you guys hear that scream? And Hermione says, instead of saying like, no, we didn't hear it, she's like, nobody screamed. There were no screams here. Like, what are you talking about? So since she didn't hear it, it must not be. It's not just that she was unable to perceive it. It's just there's no proof that it happened, or there's no reason for her to believe that it happened, so it didn't happen in her mind. Luna is the opposite of this. Luna believes almost everything.
What is it?
What?
That. Pulling the carriage.
Nothing's pulling the carriage, Harry. It's pulling itself, like always.
You're not going mad. I can see them too. You're just as sane as I am.
Everyone, this is Luna Lovegood.
I was reading an interview with J.K. Rowling, and she was talking about this. She said, like, Luna believes everything. Like, there's, all these fantastical creatures in the wizarding world that most people would think are bogus or made up. Like, Luna believes in them. And a lot of the time she's right. Most of the time she's right about it. That's what's funny, is that everybody thinks she's crazy, but she really is she's on to something. And I think that INFPs are like that. We might believe in some things that other people are kind of like, what? But it might be some real stuff. And also later, after the series is over, Luna goes on to discover all these things that people weren't sure if they were real or not. So she's actually right about a lot of the things that she believes in, but she believes in them without having to have proof about it, and that is the point. So an introverted thinker is concerned with like just knowing how things work, and they care about systems and like system building within their own mind. So they are very concerned with how things work and scrutinizing things. But Luna doesn't scrutinize anything. Like she just will believe in something just because she believes in it. And also, most people don't believe in what Luna believes in, but she does not care. For an INTP, especially when people will, especially like Hermione, will talk about something that Luna believes in and say, like, that's not true, or kind of like, that's crazy to believe in that. And Luna is just like, oh, well, whatever, you can believe in what you want to believe in. I believe in this. I know I'm right, or to me I'm right, so it doesn't really matter what you think. But an INTP would be more likely to let you know, like, okay, this reason, and that reason, I am correct about this. And if you would like to debate about it, then let's go ahead and have this debate. I mean, they might not debate like an ENTP, but they will have their arguments and their justifications to back things up. So, but Luna does not care about things like that, and you never see her arguing with anybody about anything, especially the things she believes in. She's just laid back and dreamy and doing her own thing. So that's a little bit about why I do not think Luna is an INTP. So if she's not an INTP, I think that she is pretty clearly an INFP, because she's definitely not extroverted. You can see she's always in her own world. On almost all times in the stories, she's just wrapped up in whatever she's thinking about or whatever's going on inside her mind, and she's very abstract and idea driven. So you can see that she's an intuitive type. And if you notice, Luna is she has a keen sense of other people's feelings, like what other people are feeling, and she can put herself in other people's shoes very well, something that an INTP is not good at all, and it will definitely not as good as an INFP at it, and not as good as Luna Lovegood is. So if you notice, when in the fifth book and movie, so Luna's Harry Potter is feeling isolated, and like, you know, he's not really talking to his friends, and he meets Luna in the woods, in the forest, and she's able to really like get into Voldemort's mind, like how he would think and how he would feel and how he wants Harry to feel. And she tells him, like, well, if I was Voldemort, I would want you to feel the same way. That's how I would do it.
We both believe you, by the way. That he who must not be named is back, and you fought him, and the Ministry and the Prophet are conspiring against you and Dumbledore.
Thanks. Seems you're about the only ones that do.
I don't think that's true. But I suppose that's how he wants you to feel.
What do you mean?
Well, if I were you-know-who, I'd want you to feel cut off from everyone else. Because if it's just you alone, you're not as much of a threat.
And I think that that's a very INFP scene right there, where because INFPs can put themselves into almost anyone's shoes, no matter how different they are from the person, and they can even put themselves into the shoes of people who society has rejected, like someone like Lord Voldemort, who is almost universally considered to be bad. But Luna can still put herself in his shoes and know how he would think because of her introverted feeling. But an introverted thinker wouldn't do that. They wouldn't be able to put themselves in another person's shoes in that way. And then also at the wedding, Luna and her father are talking to Harry, and Luna realizes, like, Dad, Harry doesn't want to talk to us. Because she can put herself in Harry's shoes and see, like, okay, well, I can tell that he's not really engaged with us. He doesn't really want to have this discussion right now. So she just kind of tells her dad. Her dad may be an INTP, and that's why he's not aware of these different cues. And so she tells her dad, like, yeah, Dad, Harry doesn't want to talk to us. Let's just go over here. Let's leave him be so that he can be with him or do what he wants to do. You also see Luna Lovegood's introverted feeling with her very strong value system. It has nothing to do with what other people believe in or what they value or what they think is right. She has her own system of beliefs. So you see, like, little things like her supporting Gryffindor, wearing the little lion hat when Gryffindor plays anybody but Ravenclaw, and you see her being one of the few Ravenclaw, the few members of the Ravenclaw house who stay to battle Lord Voldemort and his army in the last book. So almost all of the Gryffindor stayed, almost all of the Hufflepuff stayed, almost no Slytherin stayed, and only a few Ravenclaw stayed. But you see, Luna is one of the ones that stayed because she has her own value system that's very strong, and she believed in that fight and believed in supporting her friends. So one thing that people say often about, or one thing I always hear is people will say that Luna is an INTP because she's in Ravenclaw, which makes sense, because probably the main type that I would associate with Ravenclaw is INTP. Like the NTs in general, but INTP especially, I would associate with Ravenclaw. But it's not like INFPs can't be in Ravenclaw. Like, I'm an INFP. I got Ravenclaw on Pottermore. INFPs can be cerebral also. But that doesn't mean, just because you're in Ravenclaw doesn't mean you have to be a thinking type. INFPs and INTPs can both be kind of aloof or like in their own head, but the way Luna is, I think it's more of like a dreamy sort of INFP quality than it is like an INTP, like absent-minded professor sort of thing. Like, she's not like that. She's more just like this dreamy character. Yeah, so that's more like an INFP than an INTP. Also, Luna is extremely understanding, like, and it has to do with her being able to mirror other people's emotions. So at a time when Harry was feeling completely, like, sort of isolated and lost, Hermione, or not Hermione, so when he was feeling completely isolated and lost, Luna she just understood exactly what he was going through and was there for him and was able to make him feel better when no one else could. Even his closest friends, who he had known much longer, Luna was able to understand what he was going through better than them.
I'm sorry about your godfather, Harry.
Are you sure you don't want any help looking?
That's all right. Anyway, my mum always said the things we lose have a way of coming back to us in the end. If not always in the way we expect. I think I'll just go have some pudding.
And that is a very INFP like quality. We're able to, even if we don't know someone, like random people will just come talk to me about their problems, like I've known them for years. And that's kind of the way it was with Harry and Luna. She was like this new friend or this new person that he just met, but she already had this like keen, penetrating, or she already had this awareness of what he was feeling or what he was going through when no one else really could or no one else really did. And that's what I love so much about her character, is that like she comes off in this certain way to most people, but when like Harry knows her better than most, so he knows like how she really is. And I think that can happen with INFPs and INTPs. Once you get to know us, we might appear different than we do to everybody else. That's sort of why I always identified with Luna. She had this this kind of like off-putting air about her that made most people not really want to like get to know her, or like they didn't really understand her or anything like that. But when she was with somebody who was like her closer friend and they really got each other, it was like a very strong connection, even though they didn't know each other that well when they had first met in the fifth book. In the fifth movie. So yeah, that's just a little bit about why I think Luna Lovegood is an INFP. If you think she is an INFP, let me know in the comments. If you think she's something else, let me know and tell me why you think she's something different. I'd like to know, because I'm just one person. I don't know for sure what she is, or even if you can really. It's hard to classify characters. They don't always, they're not always like exactly by the book of the personality types, and even people do things outside what their personality type might suggest they would do. But yeah, so let me know what you think if you're a Luna Lovegood fan. So yeah, thanks for watching, all the INF people out there and all the other people out there. Peace and love. Good.
Hello, Harry Potter.
Your feet. Aren't they cold?
Bit. Unfortunately, all my shoes have mysteriously disappeared. I suspect narvals are behind it.
What are they?
They're called pestrels. They're quite gentle, really, but people avoid them because they're a bit
Different.